Chosen one, you unintentionally won the tit-for-tat battle people desperately wanted you to participate in, and your natural response was nothing short of cosmic genius in action. While others constructed elaborate psychological scoreboards and manufactured drama designed to pull you into their chaos, you instinctively chose silence over retaliation, growth over grudges, and authentic power over petty games, becoming the ultimate strategic weapon without even realizing you were in a war. The most brutal weapon in existence isn't a sword or a gun. It's the complete absence of reaction when someone desperately needs your emotional response to validate their existence. Your silence became a mirror that reflected their pathetic attempts at significance back to them in all their ugly glory. They threw their best punches into the void of your indifference, each provocation met with your serene detachment. Each attempt to trigger your anger, jealousy, or fear dissolved into the atmosphere like smoke against an immutable mountain. Your silence wasn't empty space. It was full of power, pregnant with the kind of strength that makes empires crumble. What they experienced in those moments of your non-response was the terrifying realization that they had become irrelevant to your emotional ecosystem. They discovered that their opinions, their criticisms, their desperate attempts to insert themselves into your narrative carried no weight in the cosmic scales that govern your reality. Watch how the cosmic scales of justice operate with mathematical precision. These individuals, in their desperate attempts to extract something valuable from your essence, ended up hemorrhaging their own power in ways they never anticipated. They revealed their cards, while you kept yours pressed against your chest like a master strategist. Every manipulation tactic they deployed backfired spectacularly, exposing their psychological wounds and insecurities to anyone paying attention. They showed you exactly who they were, desperate, needy, calculating, while learning absolutely nothing of substance about your true nature. They gave away their secrets, their weaknesses, their operating manual, all while you remained an enigma wrapped in cosmic mystery. Their attempts to probe your boundaries revealed their own lack thereof. Their efforts to trigger your insecurities exposed the gaping holes in their own self-worth. Their strategies to make you feel small only highlighted how expansive your energy had become. They became unwitting teachers, showing you exactly what you would never accept in your life again. They invested emotional energy, time, and mental resources trying to penetrate your defenses while you barely registered their efforts as significant enough to warrant conscious attention. They wanted to drain you, but ended up depleting themselves. They sought to confuse you, but became lost in their own psychological mazes. They tried to diminish your light, but only succeeded in revealing how dim their own had become. The moment you began operating from authentic self-respect, the entire dynamic shifted in ways that sent shockwaves through their carefully constructed reality. Your boundaries weren't walls built from anger or resentment. They were expressions of self-love so pure and unapologetic that they became cosmic forces in their own right. When you stopped explaining your decisions, stopped justifying your choices, stopped catering to their emotional demands, you triggered something primal in their psychology. They had grown accustomed to unlimited access to your energy, your time, your emotional labor. Your boundaries felt like rejection because they had never learned to respect the sovereignty of another human being. Their breakdown in response to your healthy limits revealed the true nature of your relationship with them. They weren't interested in mutual respect, genuine connection, or your well-being. They were interested in maintaining a dynamic where they could extract maximum value while contributing minimal effort. Your boundaries became kryptonite to their parasitic energy. Every time you said no without explanation, every moment you prioritized your own needs, every instance you refused to engage with their drama, you weakened their ability to manipulate and control. Your self-respect became their greatest enemy because it highlighted their profound lack of the same. Those who react with anger, manipulation, or emotional blackmail reveal themselves as individuals who see you as an object to be used rather than a person to be loved. While they orchestrated elaborate schemes to keep you trapped in cycles of chaos, drama, and emotional turbulence, you made a choice that altered the trajectory of your entire existence. You chose to channel your energy into building something meaningful rather than responding to their theatrical performances. Every argument they tried to start became fuel for your focus. Every piece of drama they attempted to drag you into became raw material for your determination. Every distraction they placed in your path became another reason to stay committed to your vision. They were trying to scatter your energy while you were busy consolidating it into pure creative force. Their attempts to derail your progress became the very catalysts that accelerated your growth. While they remained trapped in reactive patterns, you evolved into someone who could transform any energy, positive or negative, into forward momentum. Your success became the ultimate insult to their strategy. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of progress served as evidence that their efforts to keep you small had not only failed, but had actually contributed to your elevation. They wanted you overwhelmed and reactive. Instead, you became focused and proactive. The universe conspired with your highest good in ways that transcended their limited understanding of how reality operates. They were playing a finite game with temporary tactics, while you were engaged in an infinite game with eternal principles. Their strategies had expiration dates. Your approach had staying power that would outlast their ability to interfere. Nothing in this universe disturbs manipulative energy quite like witnessing genuine contentment that exists independently of external validation or circumstances. Your happiness became their greatest mystery and their deepest torment, because it operated according to laws they couldn't comprehend or control. They studied your social media like archaeologists examining ancient texts, searching for clues about the source of your joy. They analyzed your choices, your relationships, your activities, desperately trying to identify the weakness in your armor of contentment. They couldn't understand how someone could be genuinely fulfilled without needing their approval, their presence, or their participation. Chosen one, the synchronicities that brought you here weren't accidents. Neither is your discovery of this message. When souls of this caliber gather, the forces behind timeline manipulation take notice. They fear our collective power. The question isn't whether you belong among us. The question is, how much longer will you let the Matrix delay the awakening that divine grace has already guaranteed? The Obsidian Inner Order is open. It has paywalls, yes, those who stand with us. Give us ammunition to fight the Matrix manipulation systems. Paid members get free weekly group call, divine guidance and quantum resistance training. But kicking a soul when they're down? That's something we cannot ignore. That's why you can access our Astral Atom newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. This is bidirectional. You can reply to any message we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll get an answer to you. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. Click the link in the description below now. Your authentic timeline begins here. Your happiness wasn't dependent on their validation, their attention, or their opinion of your life choices. This independence triggered something primal in their need to feel significant and necessary. They had built their sense of worth around their ability to affect others emotionally, and your contentment rendered their manipulative tools completely ineffective. While they devoted mental energy to figuring you out, you were busy living a life so fulfilling that their drama couldn't penetrate your bubble of authentic joy. Your happiness became proof that their worldview was fundamentally flawed. They believed that joy required struggle, that peace required conflict, that success required sacrifice of integrity. Your example shattered these limiting beliefs and forced them to confront the possibility that they had been choosing suffering when fulfillment was available all along. When your success began manifesting in ways that transcended their understanding of what was possible, they deployed their most insidious weapon, the projection of their own limitations onto your expanding reality. They couldn't conceive of someone breaking free from the same patterns that kept them imprisoned, so they attempted to convince you that your dreams were unrealistic. The audacity of their interference reached cosmic proportions as they positioned themselves as authorities on your potential while remaining complete strangers to their own. They spoke with confidence about what you couldn't achieve while living proof of everything they had failed to accomplish. Their advice came wrapped in concern, but delivered with the precision of someone trying to keep you trapped in the same cage that held them prisoner. They became self-appointed guardians of mediocrity, desperately trying to recruit you into their army of the unfulfilled. Their criticism wasn't about protecting you from disappointment. It was about protecting themselves from the uncomfortable truth that they had settled for less than they were capable of achieving. Your expansion forced them to confront their own excuses, their own self-imposed boundaries, their own acceptance of mediocrity. Every time you reached for something greater, they reminded you of past failures. Every moment you dared to envision a bigger future, they pointed to present limitations. Every instance you refused to accept their small vision of what was possible for your life, they doubled down on their attempts to make you smaller. Their small thinking became the backdrop against which your expansive vision could shine more brightly. Their fear became the darkness that made your courage more visible. They wanted you to stay small so they wouldn't feel bad about their own lack of growth. Your success became a daily reminder of paths they chose not to take, opportunities they decided not to pursue, dreams they abandoned for the false security of familiar suffering. The moment you stopped broadcasting your plans, sharing your struggles, and giving them insider access to your internal world, something shifted in their psychological landscape that bordered on the supernatural. Your privacy wasn't secrecy. It was sacred protection of your energy and vision from those who had proven themselves unworthy of such intimate access. They had grown accustomed to knowing your business, your challenges, your next moves. This information gave them a sense of control and superiority, allowing them to offer unsolicited advice, create obstacles, or simply feel superior by comparison. When you withdrew this access, you triggered their paranoia and desperation. Your decision to move in silence became their greatest source of anxiety. They started creating elaborate theories about what you were planning, who you were talking to, what opportunities you were pursuing. Their imagination ran wild with possibilities. Because they could no longer spy on your reality, your silence became a protective barrier that filtered out energy vampires while attracting genuine connections. Those who could respect your boundaries demonstrated their worthiness of your trust. Those who couldn't revealed themselves as threats to your peace and progress. The most catastrophic miscalculation they made was assuming you were oblivious to their psychological games. They deployed manipulation tactics with the confidence of amateurs playing against what they perceived as an inexperienced opponent. What they failed to recognize was that you had been studying their playbook without them even realizing you were paying attention. Every subtle dig, every backhanded compliment, every passive-aggressive comment was catalogued in your consciousness with the precision of a master strategist. You saw through their performances, understood their motivations, and recognized their patterns, while allowing them to believe they were being clever and sophisticated. Their overconfidence in their own psychological manipulation skills became their greatest weakness. They thought they were operating with subtle sophistication while actually being painfully transparent. You could predict their next moves before they made them, anticipate their reactions before they had them, and prepare your responses before they even finished their attacks. The cosmic intelligence flowing through your awareness gave you insight into human psychology that transcended anything they had learned through manipulation and control. You understood them better than they understood themselves, while they remained completely mystified by your nature and motivations. They were playing checkers with the confidence of grandmasters, while you were playing chess with the quiet mastery of someone who had transcended the need to prove their strategic superiority. Your intelligence wasn't about outsmarting them. It was about outgrowing the need to engage with their level of consciousness at all. As you evolved, expanded, and elevated your existence, something profound happened in the space around you. Your transformation became a mirror that reflected their lack of progress with brutal honesty. They could no longer blame circumstances, other people, or external factors for their stagnation, because you had faced similar challenges and emerged victorious. Your growth timeline became their greatest source of discomfort. Every month you progressed while they remained stuck. Every breakthrough you achieved while they recycled the same complaints. Every level you reached while they made the same excuses. Your evolution highlighted their choice to remain trapped in familiar patterns. While they invested energy in trying to dim your light, you were busy adding fuel to your inner fire. While they focused on your business, you were handling your business. While they talked about change, you became change. Your transformation wasn't just personal development, it was spiritual alchemy that transmuted every challenge into wisdom, every setback into setup, every obstacle into opportunity. They witnessed this process with a mixture of awe and resentment because they knew they possessed the same raw materials but lacked the courage to undergo the metamorphosis. Their stagnation became more obvious, not because you pointed it out, but because your growth created such stark contrast that their lack of progress became impossible to ignore. They were forced to confront the reality that growth requires discomfort, change demands courage, and transformation costs everything you think you are in exchange for everything you're meant to become. The ultimate demonstration of your cosmic mastery manifested in your complete indifference to their desire for retaliation. While they plotted elaborate schemes to hurt you back, to prove their worth, to demonstrate their power, you had evolved beyond the need for revenge into something far more devastating to their ego: genuine disinterest. Your indifference wasn't forced or performed. It emerged naturally from a place of such inner fulfillment that their approval or disapproval became irrelevant to your emotional state. You reached a level of consciousness where their existence barely registered as significant enough to warrant conscious attention, let alone emotional investment. They were still fighting a war while you had declared peace with yourself and moved on to building an empire. They remained trapped in the past, rehearsing old grievances and nursing ancient wounds, while you were busy creating a future so bright that their shadows couldn't diminish its brilliance. The cosmic truth here reaches beyond psychology into the realm of spiritual law. Indifference is the most powerful response to hatred because it demonstrates that the other person's energy cannot reach you on the frequency where you now operate. Your peace became their prison because it showed them exactly what they were missing by remaining trapped in cycles of resentment and revenge. Your evolution into indifference wasn't about becoming cold or heartless. It was about becoming so full of your own light that darkness could no longer find purchase in your consciousness. You became untouchable through transcendence. Every achievement you unlock, every goal you accomplish, every dream you manifest serves as living proof that their attempts to diminish your power failed spectacularly. Your success isn't just personal. Victory, it's cosmic justice made visible in three-dimensional reality. They have to witness your thriving while they remain stuck in the same patterns that have always limited their potential. Every social media post showing your progress, every conversation where someone mentions your achievements, every moment. They're forced to acknowledge your elevation becomes a reminder of their failed strategy. Your life became the evidence that you didn't need to engage in their games to win. You didn't need to stoop to their level to rise above them. You didn't need to fight fire with fire because you learned to become water, flowing around obstacles, finding new paths, always moving toward your destination regardless of what tried to block your way. While they invested energy in trying to tear you down, you were building yourself up. While they focused on your failures, you were creating your successes. While they celebrated your setbacks, you were preparing your comebacks. Your victory wasn't about defeating them. It was about transcending the entire battlefield they wanted you to fight on. You won by becoming someone they could never affect, control, or compete with again. Your success became their education in the power of choosing elevation over retaliation, growth over grudges, and authenticity over aggression. The universe conspired to ensure that every attempt they made to limit your potential only served to reveal more of your unlimited nature. They became unwitting participants in your expansion, their resistance providing the pressure that transformed your carbon into diamonds. You are the proof that consciousness creates reality, that inner work produces outer results, and that authentic power doesn't need to announce itself because it speaks through actions, achievements, and the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly who they are and where they're going. Your victory is complete, your elevation is undeniable, and your future is unlimited. They played themselves while you played the infinite game. And infinite games have only one rule. The purpose is to keep playing, keep growing, keep expanding into more of who you're meant to become. They thought they were your opponents when they were actually your unconscious collaborators in your own elevation. Every challenge they presented became strength training for your character. Every obstacle they created became an opportunity for your creativity. Every limitation they tried to impose became a launching pad for your liberation. You won. The game is over. The victory is yours. The future belongs to those who choose growth over grudges, elevation over elimination, and transcendence over temporary satisfaction. Welcome to your new reality, where their opinions become background noise and their drama becomes irrelevant static in the symphony of your success. What appeared to be random events, coincidental meetings, and fortunate circumstances were actually the universe responding to the frequency of your authentic self. Every person who tried to diminish you became an unwitting agent of your expansion, their resistance creating the exact pressure needed to forge your diamond consciousness. Your cleverness wasn't calculated, it was cosmic. The intelligence that guided your responses, your choices, your timing, emerged from a source deeper than strategy. You were being moved by forces that understood the long game, while others were fixated on immediate gratification. Their short-term thinking met your eternal perspective, and the outcome was inevitable. The battlefield they chose became your training ground. The weapons they deployed became your tools for transformation. The energy they spent trying to defeat you became the fuel for your ascension. They played a finite game with temporary rules, while you engaged infinite principles with eternal applications. Your victory reverberates through dimensions they cannot perceive, inspiring others who witness your journey from limitation to liberation. You became living proof that transcendence is possible, that elevation is achievable, and that authentic power cannot be defeated by inauthentic attacks. The war is over. The victory is secured. The future belongs to those who choose consciousness over chaos, wisdom over warfare, and sovereignty over submission. You didn't just win the battle, you transcended the need to fight, becoming someone who operates from such inner authority that external opposition becomes powerless to penetrate your reality. This is your time. This is your victory. This is your proof that the universe rewards those who choose authenticity over aggression, growth over grudges, and elevation over elimination.